Welcome to Unveiling Mythical Legends. Hey, have you ever thought that maybe we've been tricked since we were kids? Tricked by our own brains, by that clock on the wall ticking away, even by this so-called reality we live in? Before we start, remember to hit subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our episodes.
Haha, you're not wrong. The trick is buried really deep. The most ingrained brainwashing we've received since childhood is the belief that time is a straight line, never to return. Imagine yourself sitting on a train with no direction, watching all those beautiful moments, all the people you love, racing past the window one by one, finally vanishing from view like a station sign swallowed by time. You call this loss, call it separation, call it eternity apart.
But I really lost them, didn't I? They're gone and they're not coming back.
That's just your perspective being too narrow. Imagine those people who left your life 10, 20 years ago. They're right now somewhere in the universe, taking big bites of food, laughing out loud. The reality of that moment is no less vivid than this cup of hot tea in your hand right now. Feels crazy, doesn't it?
I don't know what to think.
Don't rush. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. Maybe you're sitting alone on the couch, the room so quiet all you hear is the soft hum of electronics. You open a yellowed photo album, fingertips brushing your lover's youthful face, or your parents' gentle smiles. The space feels empty, a hollow suffocating emptiness, as if those who lived before have been snuffed out like candles, completely gone. But do you know? That sense of void, it's actually the core of human suffering. We think life is subtraction, one less day, one less face, but it's actually a massive scientific trap, a cage of perception.
So, we really can never reach them again?
No. Let's play a thought experiment. Imagine you're watching a movie, the protagonist experiences life and death, you cry your eyes out, but have you ever considered that even at the 90-minute mark, the boy from the 10th minute still exists? He's alive in that single frame of space-time forever. The film doesn't vanish just because the light has moved across it, it's simply not present in your current moment. The entire universe is just one gigantic reel of eternal film.
So, the losses I see are actually just an illusion?
Exactly. In his later letters, Einstein said that the distinctions between past, present, and future are nothing more than a stubborn, persistent illusion. This isn't comfort or motivational talk, he was speaking poetry through physics. The passage of time is simply a limitation of our three-dimensional perception. In higher dimensions, time isn't a river, it's a still mountain, and we are like flashlights of consciousness, illuminating different landscapes at different heights. This is the block universe model.
The block universe, that sounds really abstract.
Haha, abstract but real. From a higher perspective, you'd see the moment you were born in 1990, the moment your heart raced in 2005, this very moment in 2026 when you're listening to me, and even your future self aging, all laid out like photos, equal and existing simultaneously. What we call now is just your consciousness's spotlight shining on a single frame. And the people you miss? That summer evening in 1998, they were in the kitchen, busy in a white shirt, the scene never disappears. They're etched into the coordinates of the universe, even death cannot erase them.
Then why can't I see them? Why can't I reach them?
That comes down to our brains. The brain is a brutally efficient filter, designed to protect survival by blocking out most information. If we could perceive past and future at the same time, we wouldn't be able to dodge predators in the jungle or safely cross the street. So the brain installs real-time software, making us think only the present is real. This design makes life feel like it constantly slips through our fingers, and our fear of death is really a fear of being deleted. But at the universe's fundamental level, energy is conserved, and information never disappears.
So, separation doesn't really exist?
Exactly. True separation is just an illusion of our perception. From the Buddha to Taoist teachings, life and death are merely transformations, an endless cycle. Those you think you've lost are actually always present somewhere in the universe, always joyful, always whole. Death just means their consciousness beam no longer moves to new coordinates, but in their original coordinates, they remain perfectly intact. This is the comfort the block universe model gives us, and in a way, it's an ultimate kind of romance.
If I know that everything always exists, how am I supposed to live the rest of my days? does it mean nothing matters anymore?
On the contrary, that's the essence of this leave space wisdom. You don't need to chase the moments the universe has already preserved, nor try to retrieve people or things that have passed. Your task isn't to reach those who aren't present now, but to gently and clearly shine your consciousness on each stitch of your present life. Every instant, every emotion, has already been perfectly recorded by the universe. What you need to do is live gracefully in the now, aiming your light where you choose.
That sounds a bit abstract. Can you give me an example?
Of course. Imagine the elder you miss, sitting in the sunlight one afternoon in 2005. From the universe's perspective, that moment exists forever. They don't age, don't get sick, and remain eternally joyful. Death only means their light isn't moving to a new coordinate, but at that original coordinate, they are still fully alive. The same goes for you. Every smile, every breath, leaves a mark on the universe's eternal film. Whether you become aware of this existence determines whether the image you leave in the cosmos is noisy and blurred, or sparkling and vivid.
So, my grief is really just because my light beam hasn't shifted elsewhere yet?
Exactly. Once you learn to rotate your flashlight, you can see the silhouettes of the past, the shadows of the future, and greet them with a smile instead of anxiety and struggle. Practice isn't about escaping reality, it's about training your beam. When you see the past, you can think, as long as they're happy. When you glimpse the future, you can calmly say, that moment hasn't arrived yet. This is how you counter death, fear, and the narrow confines of time.
Wow, hearing this, my whole outlook on life has completely changed. So, does that mean I don't need to be so anxious anymore?
Exactly. When you realize that you are part of this eternal universe, and that those who have left are sitting on a sofa in another time-space, laughing and talking, your restless mind will gradually calm down. You'll see that the crowds on the street, the elderly, the babies, each of them is a living presence in a different coordinate, a different moment, and you're simply illuminating this one. The world is no longer empty, it's a museum full of treasures. Every corner, every life, is part of eternity.
So, does that mean my attachments and fears aren't so important anymore?
Exactly. You'll learn to live your life like watching a play, be your most vibrant self, and with a compassionate heart, forgive the passers-by who only linger for a moment. When you embrace the idea of a block universe and the immortality of consciousness, your life is no longer a marathon racing toward the finish line. Instead, it's like strolling through an art museum, with every gallery waiting for you, never closing. You just need to shine your light on the moment you're passing through, warmly and clearly.
So, the ultimate answer I've been chasing has actually been right beside me all along, I just didn't understand it.
Exactly. Stop asking, where did they go? And stop asking, how long will I live? In the face of true wisdom, these questions are insignificant. Once you understand everyone is here, they've never truly left, and you too will never truly age, just exist in a different form. This romance, coming from the depths of the universe, is the gentlest comfort for every heart that has ever been broken.
I feel a bit weightless, even my breathing feels different.
Haha, that's the taste of truth. You'll notice that the furniture around you, the phone in your hand, even your own breath, feels a little lighter, because you're starting to understand, everything we've ever chased has never truly disappeared. The universe has perfectly preserved every breath, every expression, every tiniest detail of those you've loved. In this body, you are experiencing the light and shadow of an eternal soul, and that is the most fascinating absurdity of life.
This feeling, it's like I'm no longer alone and I'm not afraid of losing anyone anymore.
Exactly. That's the essence. When you learn to perceive the warmth that once existed through the lens of shifting time and space, you realize that farewells are just blind spots in our perception, not the end of the universe. You and your loved ones are forever bound by some ineffable force, forming an eternal, irreplaceable melody. This post-awakening disorientation is the universe's gift. It teaches you to fill every moment with peace and joy.
This feeling, it's like I'm no longer alone and I'm not afraid of losing anyone anymore.
Exactly. That's the essence. When you learn to perceive the warmth that once existed through the lens of shifting time and space, you realize that farewells are just blind spots in our perception, not the end of the universe. You and your loved ones are forever bound by some ineffable force, forming an eternal, irreplaceable melody. This post-awakening disorientation is the universe's gift. It teaches you to fill every moment with peace and joy.
This feeling, it's like I'm no longer alone and I'm not afraid of losing anyone anymore.
Exactly. That's the essence. When you learn to perceive the warmth that once existed through the lens of shifting time and space, you realize that farewells are just blind spots in our perception, not the end of the universe. You and your loved ones are forever bound by some ineffable force, forming an eternal, irreplaceable melody. This post-awakening disorientation is the universe's gift. It teaches you to fill every moment with peace and joy.